Yo, everybody, it's your boy Picket Fence.
And I'm Lady Bounce.
From the Fly With Us podcast.
We have a special contest just for you for flying with us for 100 episodes.
So, all you have to do is leave a comment if you see this post, and we'll post it again. So leave a comment under this post, and there'll be a written out comment post for you to comment on, saying what your favorite self-care thing to do is.
What's your favorite self-care thing?
Walking meditation. What's your favorite self-care thing to do?
Music and junk food.
There it is. As simple as that. Just leave a comment below saying what your favorite thing to do for self-care is.
We'll pick one winner and we'll announce it on the post, and then we'll inbox you to get your prize.
Word up.
Peace. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about physical self-care. I'm Lady Bounce.
And I am Picket Fence.
All right, you got the mindfulness minute for us? What we got?
Okay, today's mindfulness minutes is a quick blurb about yoga, since we're talking about physical self-care. And this is about the science of yoga. There have been for ages and ages of past in India and other Oriental countries, yogi masters who devote their time and attention to the development of man, physically, mentally, and spiritually. The experience of generations of earnest seekers has been handed down for centuries from teacher to pupil, and gradually a defined yoga science was built up. To these investigations and teachers was finally applied the term yogi, from the Sanskrit word yug, which means a join, so like a joining, and that joining is like they said, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual back to the source. And it's done through a physical practice.
Okay. So do you do yoga? How's it work for you?
I do a very simple thing. I only do one formation, which is called the sun salutation. It's just a 3-part series. So I'm not bending myself up like a pretzel. I'm not to that advanced stage or anything. I'm not doing anything real strenuous. To briefly explain it, it's you basically stretch all the way up, hands up, standing up straight. You go down to your toes, exhaling. You inhale, coming up to your knees. Exhale, going back to the floor. Then you step one leg back and then the other, and you do a straight arm plank, taking some breaths. Then you go in, and then you arch forward. I forget off the top of the head what that's called. And then you lean back and push forward to downward dog, which is basically your body is going to look like that. And then you come back up. You bring one leg forward, the other leg forward, and then you stand back up and then reach your arms. And that's called the sun salutation. So that's one thing I do. Sometimes I do I throw tree pose in there and the warrior pose added into that sequence. But every morning I try to do sun salutation just to basically get stretched out.
Okay. I do some basic stretches when I wake up. We had Yamika Stevens on our show a few months ago, and she talked to us about everything yoga, and the first thing I said to her was like, I can't do yoga. And she was able to give me some really great simple poses that I could do, that weren't going to be stressful for my back and for my knees, which are both problem areas for me due to car accidents and just life settling in. So I like the idea of the sun salutation, that you do. It sounds very similar to the exercises that Yamika gave to me. So that's pretty cool. So now as it relates to physical self-care, what do you typically do for your physical self-care? How do you take care of this vessel we've been given?
Well, two things mainly, or my main thing when it comes to physical self-care for me. One is eating a nutritious diet. I try to eat the best. I still am a junk foodaholic. not necessarily sweets, but fried foods. I love fried foods, but I do better by having fried vegetables. But I still need to cut down on fried foods. But I do eat mostly healthy. I am 99.9% vegan. Cheese, I still have cheese periodically. I love it, and I haven't had any cheese alternative that really tastes good. I've had some, not at least not in the store. I've been to vegan restaurants like the Loving Hut down in Cincinnati, and I had the Beyond Philly, and they had cheese, and then their cheese tastes good. But any of the store-bought kind, I haven't had that is really good. I mean, I keep trying them, giving them a chance, but none of them are really good. And the second thing is walking. I love walking. I love it. It's a meditation to me, walking meditation. For the first time this year, I usually walk on a track, but the first day that it was kind of decent here in our area, I went walking over Wesleyan Park, and that was real dope. It's not real big area to walk in, but there's like two nice hills. So I was just walking back and forth basically on the hill, doing basically getting some incline in. But it looks real pretty over there. It's creek or river, whatever you want to call it. There's a train bridge over there. Then there's a walking bridge to that Children's Adventure Center, whatever that is called on James H. McGee.
Mm-hmm. Adventure Central.
Yeah, Adventure Central. So it's not a real big area to walk in, but I think having those two hills helps. So walking is my main physical self-care. I love getting out walking.
I'm trying to think. For me, my physical self-care is usually tied to food. Not necessarily sweets, sometimes just my favorite food for that day. Listening to music, and probably my favorite physical form of self-care is to just do nothing. To just, let my body kind of float and be lifeless, not doing a lot of moving. If I can't get a massage, of course a massage is probably always my number one. But on those days where I can't get a massage, just to kind of lay around and do nothing. Don't exert any energy from my body at all, and just let my body physically rest, along with, letting my mind rest. So for me, it's rest. Definitely rest.
Now, you said music. How do you tie musical? Do you play the piano real fast, or how are you getting physical self-care with music? Are you dancing?
I do like to dance. I don't do a lot of dancing at home because my children are not always the nicest to me when I'm dancing. They always, make jokes about having to call 911. So I don't do a lot of dancing at home, but just listening to different types of music, different speeds of music, my body reacts to the music. So if I'm listening to something that's slow and smooth, jazzy, like, then my body's in a calmer state. So I'm willing my body to be calm. Or if I'm listening to something that's kind of, bouncy or hypes me up or something, then, I'm dancing or, moving my body in some kind of way. Dancing will probably be my favorite form of exercise, just because you can do anything and it counts as exercise as long as you're moving your body. Mm-hmm. The problem is, though, it doesn't always look aesthetically pleasing to other people. Because and the thing that kind of makes it a little bit better is that I use headphones, so nobody is listening to what I'm listening to, so you don't know if I'm off beat or on beat or what. So it definitely has some freedom to it because nobody knows if you're off beat or not.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh, that's cool. Now, there are several types of physical self-care people could do. For some people, it would be lifting weights. Some people, yoga. Some people, Tai Chi. I tried Tai Chi years ago. I just think it was too slow for me, which I know that's supposed to be the purpose of it, but it was just too slow for me. But that really works on an internal physical self-care, the inside, really, realigning your life force. But it was just too slow for me. Some people was running. I'm too fat and have bad knees for running, so I don't run. Now, in my younger days, I did run track in my younger days, and I used to just get out and run a lot, period. But now it's walking. And then, like I said, walking is number one, but some people may play basketball. Some people may take, what's the new craze, Zumba, or back in our day, it was called step aerobics.
Step
aerobics with the leg warmers and the leotard suit.
Yes.
Or the cutoff shirt, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2,
That is the best.
But the point is, there are lots of ways that you can do physical self-care. I would even consider like going to a steam room or a sauna. That would be physical self-care. Like you mentioned, massages are a real good way. I'm reading this book called The Seasonal Self-Care Practice. I think that's what it's called, somewhere else. But it's called Seasonal Self-Care Practices and Rituals. That's what it is. Seasonal Self-Care Rituals. And it talks about different self-cares for different seasons of the year. But in that book, it mentions about how important that massages are. And they talk about a lot of self-massages that you can do. But I know it's an Ayurvedic book. And I know in Ayurvedic culture, massages are a big thing, with the aromatherapy and all different types, just like there are different types of techniques for yoga. There are lots of different massage techniques. I think one of my favorite that I've had in past years is the hot stone massage. I love the hot stone massage, especially when they put those little pebbles in between your toes.
Yes.
Like I said, the sauna, the steam room, those are all physical self-cares. Yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, basketball, and I think most importantly would be your diet. Now, what are some other self-care, physical self-cares that you would consider trying?
I could see myself doing some running, maybe not very fast, but I like yoga because there's different ways to do yoga where it's not strenuous on your body. Because, like I said, I do have some old issues that in my older age that are coming back to remind me, like that one time, So I definitely like yoga. I love a good massage, the hot stone massage, like you said, with the stones between the toes and the rubbing that goes along with it, and the alignment of my spine when I'm getting a massage is a really big thing, because as a result of a car accident that I was in when I was about 16, my spine is crooked in 2 different places. So that spinal manipulation piece of the massages that I get is really, really key for my physical body, because it allows me to move better, to move easier. And then the yoga stretches on top of it just like bring it all the way home. But like I said before, I like dancing. I'm willing to try some running. Like I said, it won't be very fast, but I definitely could do some running. Walking meditation sounds like something I could definitely get into. So I guess, in terms of like the physical self-care, just anything that's going to make my body feel good. Any way that I can, kind of treat my body, in a good way. So when I'm having a rough day and I want that Reese cup after work, that, for that day, for that moment, that's the best form of physical self-care that I can get, is that chocolate and getting the rush to my brain and the release, of stress. So really for me, anything that's going to relieve the stress and the tension that I have in my body. So I'm almost willing to try anything.
Yeah, but we got to cut the Reese out though, because that's not physical self-care.
Hey, stop cussing at me here. This is a family show.
That may be like your cheat day or just a release, but that wouldn't be good physical self-care.
Sir, this is a family show. I would appreciate if you stop using profanity in bad language as you talk to me.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, things that are going to be good for your body are what we would consider physical self-care. Like you said, some days it's doing nothing
Yes.
because your body wants to be in a place of rest and a state of rest. Especially the weekend, you've gone hard all week, and you're building it where you work at. It's a lot of stairs, plus they're just ripping and running when you get off work, getting up early because you have a meeting or something like that. So come Saturday, Sunday, usually Saturday you spend all day running around, doing the things you couldn't do during the week. So that Sunday, sometimes the best physical self-care would be doing nothing.
I like it. And I would be remiss if I left out a really great form of physical self-care. As I sat on a Speak Woman panel for 2 days in a row, sex is an excellent form of physical self-care.
Yeah.
I know, in our country, it's so taboo. We can't talk about sex, but it's a thing that nobody talks about, but everybody's doing. So let's just be realistic and put it out there. It does release endorphins. It releases those feel-good hormones. It's great for burning calories. It fuels connection between you and your partner. So, we can't leave that off the table when we talk about things that are going to make our body feel good, because it feels good. It is designed to feel good. Yes, it is, meant to be used when you decide to bring children in the world, but we can have it for pleasure too. It's not just for the purpose of having children. So I would got to put that out there from a people. I'd be remiss if I didn't, include that, because the whole point of our show is to help people and to be realistic in ways of taking care of our bodies and having self-care. And sex is simply a great form of self-care on so many different levels.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of them, and it also burns calories.
Yes,
burns calories. So, that's definitely a good physical self-care for sure.
Yes.
Now, to talk about some other physical self-care, we're going to get into our self-care assignment for this week. Our physical self-care assignment or self-care assignment for this week is get active. You'll feel better if you prefer a team sport to a solo sport. You should join a softball or a bowling team. Also in our area, we have kickball teams. If you want to play some old school kickball, I have seen those in our areas. You can organize a team that includes people from your circle of friends or your business colleagues. Softball teams and bowling leagues play against other teams. So even as you are having fun with your friends or your team, you're also potentially making new friends with players from other teams. Psychologists say that people who live isolated lives or lack strong social networking are not as happy as those who have formed strong bonds and social connections with others who have ongoing support from their friends and family. So our self-care assignment, even if you don't want to join a league or a team, get active, get out there. Now, like the reading just mentioned, that's a good way to meet new people. It's a good way to build your networking. It's a great way to build a support team. Now I don't play softball, but I know a lot of people who are in softball leagues. Our son's barber and my beard barber, and sometimes your barber. He has his own barbershop, so they have a softball team. They play against teams like the hospital. So you get to meet physicians, nurses, accountants from the hospital. You might play against a law office, not, God forbid that you get in any trouble, but you're able to network different lawyers, with lawyers. You might play a softball game against a massage place, and they might have 4 or 5 massages. What do you call it? Masseuse. And, so it's a good way to not only get physically active, but it's a great way to socialize and network.
Yes, and we talked about on our episode about professional self-care. part of professional self-care, which we talked about then, and you just mentioned, playing these team sports against these other professions is a great way to make those connections. And maybe the connection that you make isn't necessarily for you, but it's for somebody that you're connected to. It might be for a nephew or a niece, or for a child, or even for a cousin. So those connections are important. Not to mention that as we are still navigating our way through this pandemic, the importance and the need for human connection has never been more prevalent. So that's a great way to connect with people on a different level. So it's not always, I got to go see a lawyer because I got a problem. You can go see a lawyer and have lunch because now you've made this friend, you've made this connection through your extracurricular activity. That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, people don't realize the power of networking. We also talked about financial self-care. Like I said, you might meet an accountant that works at the hospital, or you might meet the accountant that works at the law firm. Someone that can help you, because like we said, we had a few names for you for people for financial advisory, but you might meet those people in these type of situations.
Absolutely.
Because in a lot of cases, afterwards, after the games, you meet up for a couple of beers or dinner or whatever the situation is. I know in softball especially, they have tournaments that last the whole weekend. So you might be sitting there waiting for your game, and you see Bob, who you played last week, who is a financial advisor. That may give you some time to talk to him off record and get some good advice.
I like it.
So much good advice that next time you pay the dues and pay him for his work, because he's looked out for you and given you some free advice, you got to pay your dues, as we say in hip hop culture. Pay your dues, and plus it builds good karma. He's a professional. He gives you a few pointers. You got to throw some Sonic coins to him.
Sonic coins. That's the best.
So let's get into my favorite part of the show. Brain science. All
right, so the brain science behind physical self-care. We already know that milk does a body good, but why? We know that taking care of our bodies is important, but why? This is why. Physical self-care is probably what many of us typically think of when we hear the word self-care. This type of self-care refers to any activities you deliberately engage in to enhance your physical well-being. When you enhance your physical well-being, your mind is sure to follow. So that is your why. A few examples can include being active, going for a walk, a bike ride, taking a fitness class, etc. Taking a relaxing bubble bath. Dancing to your favorite song. See, they thought of me when they wrote this. Getting a massage, my other favorite. Taking a nap. In preschool and kindergarten, we fought so hard to take a nap. As adults, we don't take naps. Why is that? Our bodies need rest and recharging, just like babies do. But we're usually so caught up in the rat race of life that we don't take naps. A well-placed nap does a body good. Give some thought to what types of physical activities make you feel calm, balanced, and happy. Schedule regular time to do them. So whatever it is that gets your body moving or not moving, schedule that time to physically take care of this vessel that you have been given. We've talked about before on the show about one of the ways to fight COVID is to have your immune system in check, to have a good balanced diet. So now we're telling you, actively do what it takes to take care of this vessel that you have been given to ensure a long and happy, prosperous life.
Word up. Word up. I like that. I like that a lot. One other thing that we didn't mention that can also be considered physical health care, we mentioned sauna and steam rooms, a hot bath with some essential oils.
Yeah, because this only mentions a bubble bath, but yes, a bath with essential oils, Epsom salt, light an incense. Take a bath in the dark. If you are home alone and you don't have, kids that could be busting in on you at any time because they think the bathroom is unoccupied because the light is off. A bath in the dark not only helps your eyes to rest and rejuvenate, but it helps your body as you soak and you relax. I love it.
Or even a foot bath, like a foot soak. And the foot soaks are fairly inexpensive nowadays. We have one that you blow up, that we got the kids each one of those.
Right.
You blow it up and you just fill water in it. It doesn't do all the vibrating and the heat and stuff like that. But sometimes you just need to let your feet soak, especially if you're on them all day or you're doing any of these other strenuous physical activities like sports, and especially like soccer and basketball and softball, or even hiking, or if you're a dancer. Sometimes you just gotta soak your feet.
Yeah, and the other piece about soaking your feet is during the time that you are soaking your feet, you are sitting still. You are sitting in one spot. And sometimes that's all your body needs to recuperate. You need to sit still and rest. I mean, doing nothing is a thing, and it is a great piece of self-care, is to sometimes just do nothing. You don't always have to be active or on the go or driven by a motor. You can just stop. And there's a lot of value in just stopping sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I said. Sometimes being still is so good for your physical being. Sometimes your body just needs to stop and recharge. We're living in a world where it's all about going. I remember, I can't remember exactly what it was, but a few months ago we had a self-care assignment. It was, I forget the exact wording, but we talked about it lots of time about getting sleep. And some unconscious being, I'll say, I'm too busy chasing the paper, and sleep is for deadbeats. Sleep is for losers. I mean, I didn't even respond because sometimes people are so stupid, you have to come down to stupidity to greet them. And I'm not going to Stupidville to greet people.
Me neither.
I'm already in the higher conscious field. I'm not going to Stupidville to meet people. Because you get stunned sometimes by people say something that's just so dumb that you be like, oh, I gotta say. No, you don't. You don't even have to say nothing because it's a trick. It's a trick. It's a trick.
And we talked about that before too, about not always responding when you know you're right. It becomes, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Is it worth it to you to engage in this line of conversation or go down this rabbit hole trying to prove that you're right to somebody who isn't going to change their mind one way or another when you get finished exhausting your brain power? So sometimes it's better to just
you got to think. I think it's a Return of the Jedi when the fish face dude be like, well, you see something dumb, you just got to think to yourself real quick, see that clip in your head, it's a trap. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
I like it.
Don't let people bring you back. We flying. You flying with us.
Yes.
Keep flying. Don't land the ship. We got plenty of gas. We a solar powered spaceship. Just keep flying. You heard?
I like it.
Word out. We're gonna get out of here.
So tell the people you done told them how to keep flying. Well, you done told them keep flying. Tell them, how do they fly with us?
Definitely hit us up on Facebook. We're on Facebook, IG, and Twitter for your social media needs. You can find the podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast. It is the Fly With Us podcast. We are your daily source for self-care. I'm your boy Picket Fence.
I'm your girl Lady Bounce.
We out of here.
Peace.